Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie. If you are new here, I do all kinds of lifestyle videos, talk about living with chronic illness, talk about being pregnant, lots of vlogs, but I also like to, throughout the month, show you what's up with our budget. I really love personal finance. I love budgeting. It's been really helpful for us. We have a lot of debt, so it's something that we have lived with for a few years, and I like sharing that because I feel like not everybody has debt, which is great, but I do think it's helpful sometimes to hear from people that do have a lot of debt and how they're like working through their budget, because we have a fairly good income, but because our debt is so high, it can be a little bit of a struggle sometimes. But I wanted to show you guys my budget for August, what we got up to, my little budget recap. For those of you that have never seen one of these videos before, I literally take you through my budget at the beginning of the month and I show you what it's gonna look like. And now I do the recap of showing you what we actually spent. I don't do a zero-based budget. It's just never worked for us, but I do try to create a realistic budget for us to follow in Google Sheets that we use. And also, just because people have asked in the past, currently we are not attacking our debt because I am pregnant. We are due with a baby at the end of December, so we're trying to build our savings as much as possible so that hospital bills, anything that comes up, you'll see within even this budget that I've had to buy a lot of different clothing because my clothes aren't fitting anymore. So things like that that come up with being pregnant and stuff like that, that is more of a priority than paying off our debt right now. So I will show you what our budget looked like in August, and then I'll also give you a little bit of an update on where we're at with our savings and debt tracker, just because I know that that's interesting to all of you. So let's get started. Okay, so here is the budget. I believe I'm recording, hopefully, but this is what our budget looked like for the month of August. I always block out our actual income, but you can see like overall how much we bring in between both of our incomes, and rollover, debt payment, miscellaneous, things like that. Just for, again, anybody that's new here, my husband works full-time as a data engineer, I believe is what he is, from home. And then I am like a freelance content strategist. So I have a couple of clients that I work with for doing like virtual assistant work and like blogging, things like that. So anyway, we don't need to go into that, but that's kind of what our careers are currently. So this month we brought in a little bit more, $581 more than we were intending to, because I actually paid myself more this month. So I paid myself an extra $500 more this month because I needed to buy clothes for myself, and I didn't want that to come out of just our normal budget. And I had the extra money in my business, so that's what I did with that. Our rollover debt payment I'll show you at the end, and then we got like our ATM fees reimbursed. We got some interest. I use ally.com for our budget, so we get interest on our savings accounts. And then I also got a refund from the doctor because apparently I paid a copay that I wasn't supposed to, which is great. So normal, our rent, all of our fixed expenses pretty much don't change. Ben's phone is like a little bit more expensive than it was supposed to be, but quite honestly, only by $1. So this doesn't need to be read, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And then, yeah, so these are his, it looks like one of his payments didn't come out for some reason, but 80.72 is how much we spend on internet. So anyway, these are fixed expenses. These are pretty much always the same. Moving on to our debt section, these are also always the same pretty much. So these payments are all the same. We paid about $1,700. 2 of our loans are still in forbearance, and with all the student loan, I can't think of the word. Anyway, the student loan stuff that's coming out recently will affect us positively. So we don't have to pay on these loans until January, and then I believe it will wipe out Ben's federal student loan, so we shouldn't have to pay that one. And then mine, it'll wipe out a little over half of it. So I'll still have some that I have to pay back come January. So we will have to factor in another payment back into our debt. So that's where that is at. Our total fixed expenses in debt, we spent $37.78.23. Moving on to variable expenses, you'll see everything in red is what we went over. Although I will say I'm very proud of us this month. We didn't go over by much in the categories that we normally go over, but we did go over by a lot in a few of the other ones for specific reasons that I'm okay with, but let's look through it. I feel like variable expenses are always super interesting to look at, to see like what people actually spend. So one thing is it was a 5-week month for us because I get groceries on Wednesdays. So we had 5 Wednesdays this month, which means we had 5 grocery trips versus 4. And we still only went over our budget by $38, which I think is really great. We've really been working hard on our grocery budget and our eating out budget, which you'll see in a minute. And I think it's showing. We're being very cognizant of what we're spending. We do still spend a lot of money on food. If you're, again, new here, for everybody that watches these videos all the time, you're like, shut up. But for anybody that's new here, Ben and I both have food allergies. We both have chronic illness symptoms, so we have to be very particular about what we eat. We can't just eat like normal, cheap, processed food because then we would be paying a bunch more money for doctors. So it evens out usually. Moving on, we only spent $33 at Costco in comparison to the $250 budget that I spent because our Costco lately has not had anything that we normally get. So like our normal big bulk purchases that we get from Costco, we didn't this month. So it's great that we were under budget, but at the same time, some of that then went into our regular grocery budget of just like, you know, buying things that we normally would buy in bulk. Restaurants, I'm actually very proud of. We only went over by $8. $258 is still a lot to spend on going out to eat. I understand that. I'm very proud of us. You can see I always put over here like where we spend money. So one of my you can see the 2 places that I have cravings for. I don't have many cravings, but when I do, it's for a McDonald's McGriddle or it's for ice cream. 2 things that I normally cannot eat and probably shouldn't be eating, but went to McDonald's a few times, had ice cream a few times. Dairy Depot is also an ice cream place. So yeah, the ice cream was out of control this month. And then just like random things. We got Thai food one night. Kava, I put not worth it. I didn't like it at all. Wake Forest Coffee Company, Culver's. Like we went on a couple of like date nights, things like that. So that's where that comes in, but I'm actually really proud of us because the last few months we have been way over budget if you've watched our videos, so to only be $8 over is great. Next, our medications. We only spent $184, which is a lot, but less than we were anticipating, mostly because I got switched to different thyroid medication, and this one's actually covered by insurance, so it's a little bit less money. And then so household, we went over quite a bit. I'm trying to think of why. So Ben got like a ball to sit on for work, and then he got a noise machine. We were at the doctor, and like the baby doctor, and they had a noise machine, and Ben decided in that moment that he needed that noise machine, so he bought it. So anyway, so now we have a noise machine. I had to get Beautycounter makeup remover, which is super expensive. It's like an $80 makeup remover, but my skin is very sensitive, and it lasts like a full year. So it just happened to be now that I had to redo it. There was a trip to Ace. I bought a breast pump, although I still haven't gotten it. We got thank you notes, socks. I got a little gnome guy at Home Goods, and I bought like a Billy razor, and then we had to get some filters for our fridge. So it definitely was a higher month than anticipated for a household. You'll also see that we went over on beauty and haircuts. That was just, I didn't budget enough. I told you guys at the beginning of the month I didn't know how much my hair was going to be, and it actually wasn't terrible, but I did get my nails and my toes done. And normally I don't get a pedicure, so that was more expensive than I was anticipating. So we went over by about $100. Then this is the big one, personal spending. This is where I pulled over the money from my business because I needed to get some clothes. I was like really, I don't know if it was nesting or what it was, but I was really stressed out, like weirdly stressed out. I couldn't let it go earlier this month about clothes and like clothes fitting me and clothes going into the fall period. So I did buy myself a bunch of different clothes that will hopefully fit me through the rest of my pregnancy, hopefully. If you're interested in that video, I did a little video showing you guys what I got. I can link that in the cards above, but I got like a couple shirts from TJ Maxx, DSW, Shein, maternity leggings, maternity shirts. Ben got a couple of books. And then, oh, one of the things actually is the Vitality leggings I bought, which were very expensive. They were like $90. But I actually don't like the way they fit. So I just started the refund for that. So I'll get that next month. So technically I only spent like $315-ish, but it still was over budget. But just, you know, we will be getting refunded for that. I only spent $50 on therapy because I asked my therapist to go to bi-weekly, and I pay $25 per copay for that. We only spent $25 at the doctor, and I think that's also the copay that I got reimbursed. So technically I spent $0 at the doctor. We did pay for a doula. If you see this over here, almost $1,000, but I'm very excited to have a doula to help us through the rest of this pregnancy. We actually meet with her on Saturday. If you guys are interested in like learning more about why we decided to have a doula, just let me know down below. But that's part of the savings. So we had been saving for that. So it didn't come out of this budget, but we did pay that. So I wanted to have that recorded. We spent $341 on utilities. Our utilities were a little bit higher. They always are in the summer because it's really hot here. I don't like being hot, so we use a lot of air conditioning. Our car was above budget mostly because I just haven't known how to budget gas because I don't know where we're going, how much gas is gonna be. So it was about $50 more, basically like one tank of gas more than I was anticipating. Cora and Finn was another area that was over. Those are our golden retrievers, if you don't know that. So I have a payment that I'm paying for Finn that hopefully September is the last month that I pay. We also had to get both of their food, and then we bought them like long leashes for when we go up north to Wisconsin so that they can like play outside and swim and stuff without running away. And then Finn's surgery, which is supposed to be covered by this payment that I've been paying, ended up being $225 extra. $70 of that is for their heart guard for the dogs for the next 3 months. So not the whole 225, like 150 extra though, was for, I don't even know what, honestly, for his medications that he had to have. Oh, and then he had to have it's called like something ablation, scrotal ablation, because he was a fully formulated male. So they had to like put the skin back together so it wouldn't just like hang there, if you know what I mean. But they charged us extra for that. So I love this vet, but they definitely are heavy chargers. So I wasn't anticipating that at all, obviously. So that was over budget. Pretty much that whole, we would have been in budget otherwise. And then last but not least is miscellaneous. We had a random Apple bill. We bought a Zoombinis. I used to play this when I was little, and it's my favorite game ever. We bought that on iPad because Ben found it. It was only $3. The biggest thing in here was I bought a baby like diaper bag, and I don't have a little like baby line item yet, so I bought that for myself. I did have one on my registry, but it was white. I talked about this in a different vlog, and I was like, I'm not sure about this, and then I found a coupon code, so it was still inexpensive. It was still like $125, $26 for this diaper bag, but it's a little bit more neutral. It shouldn't get as dirty, and yeah, So that's where that came from. So we did spend about $897 more than I was anticipating this month in variable. And then down here in our other, these are also variable expenses, but for some reason my brain likes having them separated. I don't know if it makes sense. That's what makes sense to me. So we spent $59 on a couple of, I got like my sister a thank you gift. I got a card for my friend Michelle and a Starbucks card for her birthday. And then I got a couple other cards. So nothing crazy there. Savings, we paid $307 to our savings. Basically all of our rollover at the end of the month is going into our savings now. And then nothing on these other ones. And then we did have one of the Airbnb payments came through like August 29th, and I didn't think it was coming through until September. So it just came out a month early, so I hadn't budgeted for it here, but I had budgeted for it in September. So it worked out, it was fine. So we had about $268 left over at the end of the month, so that I have already pulled to our savings account. So speaking of savings, I'll show you our little savings and debt tracker over here. We're currently sitting at about $120,000 worth of debt, which is gross, but that's where we're at currently. I have over here that we may get, like, Ben's maybe paid off with the debt relief, and then mine should be down to about $6,000 when that goes through. And then over here, so these are like all of our debts. So I have like all of our consumer debt over here. So like Ben still has a credit card that we're paying off. I have a personal loan, and then he has a pretty high personal loan that paid off his credit card debt. And then we have our car loan. And then everything in blue is our student loans. So you can kind of see that. And then I have it like separated over here. So you can see consumer debt, like who's got it, just because they're under different names. It's our debt because we're married, but it's still interesting to see. And then, so we have $35,000 of consumer debt, about $12,000 for our, why is this like this? I don't like that. For our car debt, and then our student loan debt. So I definitely have more student loan debt. When Ben's gets taken away, he'll only have about $11,000 and I'll have like $40,000. So I went to a private school because I'm an idiot. But anyway, that's where we're at. And then I have our little savings over here. So I have a couple of savings accounts. Our Ally savings is at $4,200 right now. And then I have some savings in my business, which is my Novo account, just to keep them separate for no other reason. Technically that savings over there is for us. And then we have a guesstimate of some savings that we have in another account. That it's about $3,000, but we don't know exactly how much is in there. We haven't gotten that information yet. So anyway, so right now we're sitting at about $9,200 worth of savings, which is great. We want to continue growing that, obviously. And this month I haven't paid my $1,000 towards savings yet. So we will be over $10,000 here soon, like in the next week or two. But yeah, so we're just continuing to grow that. We do still have our obstetrics fee that we have to pay for birth that's coming up, which is like $500. I have to pay that either this month or next month. I'll probably do it in October. So that's where we're at. That's what everything looks like. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoy walking through what happened in August. I'm excited for September. We're going on a trip home. We have a couple baby showers coming up. So I feel like once September is done, it's like the baby stuff starts. You know, I feel like I've been ignoring it. I mean, I can't ignore it because it's like literally right here, but I've been ignoring it financially until I know what we get from our baby shower. Although currently nobody has, like, very few people have bought from our registry, which is like stressing me out. I'm hoping people buy from our registry, but we'll be grateful no matter what. But anyway, so that's where we're at. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.